Let's review cereals I picked up in Vienna, Austria. Do you ever travel outside the United States? Ever been to Austria? While you're there, is it worth picking up some of the local cereals? That's what I did, and I got them all the way home safely, so I'm hoping it was worth it. Friends, it's time to eat some cereal. Happy birthday, everybody. Welcome to Cerealsly, where we take cereals seriously. My name is Alex, and I eat and review hundreds of cereals a year with episodes every single week in order to help you get the most out of your cereal experience. Today on Cerealsly, we're taking a look at 4 cereals that I picked up on a recent family vacation to Vienna, Austria. Stick around to the end and I'll give each of these a full rating out of 5 and let you know if any of them are worth your cereal and travel investment. This summer, I got to take my wife and 2 kids on a dream vacation for me to Vienna. I lived with my mom and dad and siblings in Vienna for 3 years when I was in elementary school, but I haven't been back since. So a return trip has been on my bucket list for 30 years, and it was absolutely the best possible experience we could have had together this summer. I would recommend visiting Vienna to anyone. It's a great old European city, also with incredible gummy candy, by the way. That might have been my favorite part. But anytime I'm traveling away from my norm, I always check the local grocery stores for cereals, and of course, there were a few in Vienna to pick up. So I chose 4 to carefully bring home in my luggage to try together today. Let me show you what I picked up. First, I tried to pick some that seemed like cousins to cereals that we have here in the United States. The first of them is this, Honey Bsss Pops from Kellogg's. I am not quite sure what these are supposed to be called. Someone from Austria, if you could let me know, that would be great if you're out there. It literally says Honey Bsss, Bsss Pops. Honey Bsss Pops. Weird. Maybe that's the sound that a bee makes in German. Again, I only knew German when I was a little kid. I thought, though, that it was something like broom or sum that they make. Maybe it's bsss. Anyway, this kind of looks like the honey version of Canadian corn pops, which we've tried here on the channel. More like Kix than our American corn pops. So I'm excited to try these. Next, we have another from Kellogg's. These are Choco Krispies Chocos or Choco Krispies Chocos. I'm not quite sure. First, let me say, I absolutely love this green box. It is stunning to me. And then, these aren't just Choco Krispies. No, you can see they're made from wheat instead of rice, and they've got like a little bowl shape that seems really fun. So we're going to give these a try in just a second. Next, I have a cereal that I've seen in many different international markets, but I've never tried, Lion Cereal from Nestlé, which is chocolate and caramel flavored, or caramel. I wonder why chocolate and caramel has never taken off as a flavor profile in the US. At first glance, I thought these might be lion-shaped cereal pieces, but on closer inspection, they look more like general cereal lumps. So we'll have to see when we pour them out which one they are. Finally, I found a very strange one. It is Squid Game Cereal. This looks to be a Crave type of cereal, but marshmallow flavor. I don't see the connection between Squid Game. I don't remember them eating marshmallows, although they do play a lot of kids games and kids like marshmallows. So remind me if I'm forgetting about the marshmallow game that they played together. This one comes from a company called Yummers and is manufactured in Poland. Now, I tried to research Yummers online, and it seems that they're a new-ish cereal company specifically targeting media tie-ins. They had another cereal based on a Ghostbusters movie in the past, and then on 5 or 6 different European influencers. I think this is awesome, and I really hope that their actual product is good. So this is what I picked. Would you have chosen something different? If you're from Austria, what on the shelves are actually your favorite cereals? And if you've never had any of these, like me, which of these would you be the most excited to try? In the end, I want to use all of my cereal expertise to help you decide if you need a bowl of any of these cereals from Austria. Hey, if you've made it this far in the video, I want you to know that you've always had a coveted laugh. That's cool. But would you do me another favor? Would you like this video and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with what cereal we should look at together in a future episode? Doing any one of those things would really help me out. All right, I think I am ready. I have got my bowls. I have got my spoon. I've got my trusty 1% milk. And of course, I have the cereals that I picked up in Austria. I think we should try them in the order that I introduced them. So let's give Honey Bsss Pops a try. Wow, these look incredible. They are far more hearty and hefty than Kix. They're about the same size, but they're obviously a heavier cereal than that. They have what looks to be a thick honey coating on them. I'm excited to try these. Let's try Honey Bsss Pops Dry from Austria. Wow, a huge initial crunch. Did you hear how loud that was? This is a powerfully crunchy cereal, but there was something odd about it. Let me try one more time. The flavor is so much more subtle than I expected. It does not match the powerful nature of the crunch. Now, in eating foods in Western Europe, we did notice that they had less of a powerful flavor punch than we usually enjoy in the United States. Seems like it's a very American thing that every flavor needs to punch us in the face. Instead, these taste a bit like honey. They taste a little bit like the corn grain, but there's not much salt. There's not much depth to the honey flavor. Actually, before we go any further, let's put milk on it. See if that brings out anything new. All right, let's give Honey Bsss Pops in milk a try. Well, I almost blew my eardrums out chewing those. The internal crunch noise is so loud. But again, the flavor is so subtle. These could be marketed as a light flavored cereal in the US. They're pleasant, but they're not what I expected. One more bite. Wow, what a fun and interesting thing to try. I'm going to hold off on my ratings out of 5 until the end. Let's go on now to the next one. Another Kellogg cereal. Choco, Krispies, Cocoa, Krispies, Chocos, Chocos. I don't know. Someone tell me how you pronounce it when you eat these. I don't know if it'll be picked up on the camera, but there's almost a purplishness to them. They're really light and flaky. I would have suspected that they were made of rice, but no, the box says that their primary ingredient is wheat. Let's give a try to Cocoa Krispies Chocos Dry. Boy, this is completely different than what I said about the other bowl. These have a far more deep and rich dark chocolate flavor to them than what we're used to on American cereals. These are screaming for me to pour milk on them, so let's do just that before we go any further. Let's try Cocoa Krispies Chocos or Choco Krispies Chocos in milk. Well, these were born for milk. That is absolutely key here. It takes a little bit of the chocolate edge off, puts it into the milk. I have no doubt that they're already making the milk chocolatey as we speak. The grain on these is interesting. Again, they're called Choco or Cocoa Krispies, which I would connect to rice, but the wheat is less crisp than that. It crunches away rather than crisps away. Let me give it one more try. Boy, the chocolate taste is domineering here. I can barely taste any grainness to these because the chocolate is so in your face, so powerful. And yes, indeed, you can see by my bowl that it's absolutely making this chocolate milk. Let me give the chocolate milk itself a try. Yum. That's the ticket. You almost might want to get these just to swizzle them around in milk. Any of the bitterness that existed at the beginning because it's such a dark chocolate taste is completely mitigated inside of the milk. It is a fantastic taste. Boy, some things I really liked about that one. All right, on we go to Lion Cereal. I can't believe I've never tried these. Ooh, wow, we don't have anything like this in America. Very distinct between the ones that I assume are caramel flavors and the ones that are chocolate flavors. I don't think these are supposed to be lion shaped. I think they're just supposed to be 4-sided stars or something. Maybe they represent a lion in some way. A lion with ears. Some of them look like a lion with ears, but others are 4-sided. So how would you explain that? I don't know. Let's give it a try. to Lion Cereal Dry. Yeah, I've never had this flavor combination. We don't have a consistent chocolate caramel combination in a cereal around here. And I think that both the chocolate and the caramel are formulated in a way that Americans are not used to. The caramel has no saltiness to it, and it's not like a Werther's caramel. It's almost like a caramel sauce that you might have on top of a dessert or something. The distinction between the caramel and the chocolate is hard to tell. I want to taste just the chocolate ones for a second. Okay, now a cluster of just the caramel ones. Yeah, there's a slight difference, but the chocolate ones don't scream chocolate, and the caramel ones don't scream caramel to me. They're way better together than they are separate, I can tell you that. The grain tastes the most to me like a Honey Nut Cheerio grain, although again, I don't taste wheat or oats like I do when I eat most American cereals. That's interesting to me. Let's put some milk on it. Let's give a try to Lion Cereal from Nestlé in milk. I don't know if I'm a big fan of these. I like the other ones a lot more. Let me try one more spoonful. So interesting to try, but it's a flavor profile that I'm not resonating with. I genuinely wonder if they have run up against that barrier with American test audiences like myself. All right, we have come to the final one, and I think by far the weirdest, and that is, of course, Squid Game Cereal. Did you even know this existed? I consider myself to be very up on cereal news, and I did not hear that this was out there. Let's open these things up. Well, they are very cute. Not like a vibrant pink, but a more subtle pink. And, bummer, they have two of the three main shapes from Squid Game. They've got triangles. They've got the squares. They need circles in here to complete the three shapes. I'm sure a circle would have been way harder to do and to cut. It smells like marshmallow. I mentioned before that Yummers also put out a Ghostbusters cereal. Marshmallow flavor makes so much more sense for a Ghostbusters movie tie-in. So my guess is they kept it left over for Squid Game. So let's give a try to Squid Game Cereal. Whoa. Now this is an American level of sweetness. This has maybe an overly powerful sweet kick to it. The outside pillow part, the actual cereal part, is very Crave-like, but a little less substantial than Crave, even though Crave is not known to be a very hearty cereal. Still, it's very puffed here. And the inside, can we see the inside? Let me bite part of it off. And the inside actually has like a white color to it. No pink there. Yep, they actually say that on the box. The filling is where the powerful flavor is coming from for sure. Wow, this stuff is like sickly sweet. All right, let's put some milk on this and see what happens. All right, let's try Squid Game Cereal in milk. Oh, this is so sweet. What a contrast to these others that I picked up in Vienna. Those others were all very mild. This one, I don't know if I can eat more than maybe one more spoonful without my head exploding. I'm going to give it one more try. Hooey! I would love to meet the maniac that could finish a whole bowl of this stuff. I do not think this is safe. I guess that fits Squid Game. Seems innocent, seems like it's just going to be fun, then they murder you. That fits the cereal perfectly. Wow. All right, I got to get cleaned up because I think all that's left to do is give these cereals some sort of rating. Well, friends, we have done it all. We talked, we ate, we took every facet of taste and texture into consideration, and now it's enough. So let's go through some of my final verdicts on these cereals that I picked up in Vienna, Austria. The first was this Kellogg's Honey Bsss Pops. These, in the end, were the most familiar to me. At least I could make a connection to other cereals that I've had. The crunch was extreme, and yet the taste was subtle. So I am going to give Honey Bsss Pops a solid 3 out of 5. Next, we've got Choco Krispies Chocos, Cocoa Krispies Cocos, you tell me. These were okay. I wish they were rice. That would have made them a lot better. The chocolate was way out of my league. Super dark, super heavy chocolate. But the saving grace here was it made for incredible chocolate milk. So just like the other one, that's going to bring it all the way up to a 3 out of 5. Then we come to Lion Cereal from Nestle. I wondered aloud why this had never made it to the US, and I can tell you I wasn't a big fan, so I'm not waiting on bated breath for this to arrive. I'm going to give this one a 1.5 out of 5. I wasn't into the combination of the chocolate and the caramel. The shapes were kind of fun, but I wish there was more taste of grains in it. Finally, we've got the weirdest one of all, Squid Game Cereal. This one was barely palatable for me. I'm struggling not to give these a 0 out of 5, but instead, out of pity and just in case this is some sort of Squid Game test, I'm going to give this a 0.5 out of 5. I do not recommend eating these, although they are going to look wonderful as a trophy on my shelf. Let's bring them all back here. If you want to try any of today's cereals for yourself, you're going to have to take your family on a vacation to Vienna in order to pick them up, unless you already live there. Between this, though, and the Costa Rican cereals episode that we had, I got to tell you, I love trying cereals from outside the United States. If you've got a hookup of some sort of relative or a friend that lives somewhere overseas that would be willing to connect with me and send me some boxes of international cereals, boy, oh boy, have I loved being able to explore these. Now listen, I'd love to spend even more cereal time together, and YouTube thinks you'll enjoy the videos that are on screen now, so check those out while you're waiting for our brand new episode coming next week. Until then, never be soggy, my friends.